Hey y'all, it's Heather and welcome back to my channel, The Debt Free Quilter. Now last time we made a bunch of these lovely 4 patches, and let me give you a sneak peek of what they're going to look like in the end. I did one off camera to make sure that my math was right, and now I'm ready to get these trimmed up and cut up and reassembled. Let's do this. These blocks, when finished, measured up to about 14 3/8 inches, which means we need to trim them down. So what I'm going to do is trim them down to 14 inches, and for that I have to pull out my Big Easy. This is one of the specialty rulers that I have that I love, especially for cutting yardage and for cutting gigantic blocks like these. But I still have to use 2 rulers. So what I do is I get my smaller ruler lined up first. I have it squared up on this side and as squared up as I can get it on this side as well. And then I bring in my other ruler and have this line squared up on the bottom. And it's okay if you have to shift them a little bit to get them 100% straight. It would help if I turn this around actually. So I got too much on one side and not enough on the other. So basically all I'm doing is I want to have a straight line on the bottom because these blocks are not 100% straight. I am not perfect. I'm not pretending to be. But I'm going to have straight, squared up blocks here in just a few minutes. But you're way over there because there's no good way to do this. I don't have a rotating mat that is big enough to cut a 14-inch block. So we're going to be spinning this mat around. So I have my straight line here. I'm straight over here, which means I'm straight over here. I'm going to put my hand about right here and press down. If you have issues with your rulers moving on you, let me show you a trick. And you have some weights lying around, don't be afraid to grab one of those and it will help hold your ruler down. All right, time to move our mat. So as you can see, I just spun it. I just spin the mat right around and now I have a straight edge over here to work from. So I line a line of my ruler up along that edge. I bring this ruler back in, make sure that I have some overhang over here where my washi tape is, and make sure I have overhang over here because we're going for 14 inches. Now this Big Easy ruler is 12.5 inches by 24 inches. And this ruler here is my 2.5 by 18. Working together, they're going to get me that 14-inch block. Now on my next cut, I'll put that weight on there and let you see. Just pick that up and turn it. And again, I line my line up on the bottom of my block. And this time, I want this line lined up on the edge of my block. So this time I will line this ruler up first, making sure it's straight along the bottom and straight along this edge over here. I'll hold that simply in place and move the big ruler over next to it. It's like I need to shift it just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to set my weight right there. That ruler's not going anywhere. So I'm going to trim off over here. Doesn't take much. Now notice my blade is still open. I know, I'm a rebel. My blade is still open, but one, I don't have any little kids running around at the moment. So I don't have to worry about a kiddo grabbing my blade and cutting himself. And I'm setting it far enough away that I don't have to worry about accidentally grabbing it and cutting myself. And once again, I'm just going to line this up right here. And line that up right there. And shift it just a bit so I have that straight line on the bottom. And check over here again, make sure I'm straight. Put my weight on. And cut that off. Seriously, did not take much at all. Now I'm going to set this out of the way. And I'm going to use this ruler to make my next series of cuts. It's here, it's square, I may as well. Now let me explain something about disappearing four patches. The size that you cut out of the center depends entirely on the size of your blocks, the size of your individual pieces. These are 7.5 inch pieces when I started. If you're using 5-inch pieces, you may want to take 1.5 inches. If you're using 6-inch pieces, you may take 1.5 inches, 2 inches. But because these are big blocks, and these are going to stay big blocks, I'm going to take 2.5 inches. And we saw already how that turned out. There's cut number 1. And once again, I'm going to turn my mat. I do not want to shift my block any at this point. I line this up along the center seam. And I cut. And then I turn. Now see, I've shifted it. I didn't want to do that. Now I've got it back. I put a line here at center and make sure I'm straight in the center seam there again. And I cut. One more time. And then I'll show you what it looks like. Line up my center. Close my blade. Remove my ruler. We'll spin it one more time so we're back to our starting position. And there we go. Now, but how do we make it a disappearing 4-patch now? Let me show you. The only blocks I am turning are these ones. I'm not moving these pieces. I'm not moving these corner pieces. I'm not moving that center. And then when I bring it back together, there we go. And that is how we get are disappearing for patch. I am actually so thrilled with this. It came out exactly how I saw it in my head. And now we have 15 more blocks to trim and cut up so that they will look like this. So what I'm going to do is move these over to the table, over to the sewing machine, and then I will come back and cut through all the rest of these. I'm going to do these one at a time because that way I make sure they come out all the same size. I could do more than one at a time, but would they come out exactly the same? No, because fabric shifts. No matter what we're doing, fabric is going to shift. You saw an example of that a few minutes ago by me just not picking up the ruler straight up. Not doing this. Here. You saw the fabric shift when I did like this. I didn't go this way with it, and I should have. So that was my mistake, and the fabric shifted, but I got it back into place and was able to finish my cutting without any more interruptions. So I'm going to transfer this over there to the table, and then I'm going to when I'm done with all of these, I will be chain stitching everything into these blocks. So give me just a minute, I'll be right back, and we'll get the rest of these cut up. basically that's how we're gonna cut and trim these up. I will come back at the end. Okay, we've got our blocks all cut out, and now we're gonna sew them back together. Let's go to the machine. What I'm gonna do is chain piece through the whole lot of these. Means all of these two are gonna get chain pieced. And then the next two, and then the next two. And then we'll come back and add the third one on. Oh, come on. And of course the first one doesn't want to act right. Alright, we'll get our leader on here. And away we go. Now this group, we just have to worry about our seams in the middle nesting. That's all we have to worry about. Lift those off and bring them over here to set for now. Cut them all apart in a few minutes. Oh, okay. Next stack. Alright, I'm going to snip all these apart and then we're going to go press. Okay, now we're going to do these one stack at a time, and we're going to make sure that we press them in opposite directions. So this one, for example, here's the center square, here's the outside. We're going to press towards the outside square. Here's the middle row. We're going to press towards the 4 patch in the middle. So we just got to make sure that we have our directions right. And the last row down here will also press to the outside square. Alright, let's set our seam and press that open just like that. And there we go. Alright, let's go back to the sewing machine. Okay, let's put this last piece on these rows. And then we can sew them all together. Alright, I'm going to snip all these apart once again, and I'll meet you back over at the pressing table. Okay, let's talk about pressing these now. There's one of two ways we can do this. We can press everything the same way, or we can press everything in opposite directions. Now what I am going to do is press everything the same way, because with the center, it doesn't much matter which way I press, because we're still going to have some bulk, a little bit more bulk in the seams. So I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm just going to press them all in one direction and call it a day. This is my choice. If you want to press them in opposite directions, go for it. It will not hurt my feelings one iota. Alright, we've got our rows. Let's go put them together. Alright, the only points I'm worried about lining up are the center points. There's one. Then I adjust the next one. And one more point. And off on the end. If you are more comfortable pinning, go for it. That's perfectly fine. Especially for beginners, I highly recommend pinning these points. if you've never done a block like this before, because sometimes these points don't want to line up, and that happens, and pinning will help that. I need to apologize. I don't know what happened. I genuinely don't. But the rest of the assembly footage of these blocks got messed up somehow, and I just don't know how it happened. But obviously I got them all together. So I want to apologize for that, and next time we're going to trim them up and get them assembled, and we'll have a finished quilt top. We'll see you next time. Bye.